time, we'll get started. My name's Ken Shaw. I'm the CEO of SOS, and welcome to an ongoing series of webinars we do here, usually weekly, but recently it's been every couple of weeks. And the purpose of today's webinar is to give you an overview of the SOS Partner Program and what we here at SOS are all about. The intended audience is either existing partners or prospective partners, people who are considering joining the SOS Partner Program. In terms of what we'll cover, we'll go through a little bit on SOS's background, but we'll mainly be focused on the backup and disaster recovery industry from a commercial perspective as it stands today. We'll look at traditional backup and DR technology and the problems that some of that technology has. We'll then look at how SOS's technology solves most of those problems. And then lastly, we'll look specifically at the elements of the SOS Partner Program and what's involved in that. We'll take questions at the end. There'll be a Q&A section at the end, but actually we'll take questions all the way through, so that questions module I was referring to just a couple of minutes ago getting a comment here that perhaps the audio is not coming through. Can I just get confirmation that you can hear me? Okay, all right, so it seems like we've got a couple of audience members who aren't getting audio, and I'm not sure what to do about that. I'll just type out a message. Oh, okay. There's a misunderstanding. You won't be able to talk back on the line because we've got 50 people on the line. It's one way, so you can type to me, but you can't talk. I'll still answer any questions though that you type on the line. So please do use that tool to ask any questions. And I think that's what I was just discussing. These presentations are best when they're as interactive as possible. So please. We've got lots of people who have now commented because of the problems with the audio. So please do use that to ask questions starting right now. If there are topics that you would like to hear about, if there are questions that you have that are front of mind, then please take a moment to write them down. That means I can tailor the presentation to what the audience wants to hear. I'm actually on that. Can I just take a quick straw poll? Can you just type into the tool whether or not you're a prospective partner or an existing partner? Because generally the content of what we discuss is different if we've got a lot of existing partners versus if we've got a lot of people who are just thinking about becoming partners and prospective partners. So just use the tool and type in prospective or existing, and that'll help me out a lot. Great. Okay, a lot of prospective partners today, which is terrific. So please continue typing and type in the questions that you have and topics that you'd like to hear about or have addressed. And let's dive in. We're running a little bit behind schedule already. So who is SOS? I won't dwell on this because I'm assuming if you at today's webinar you're at least passingly familiar with who we are. But we've been around 10 years now, founded in 2001, originally in Australia. Since then we've grown pretty dramatically. We've now got 150 employees worldwide, more than 1 million customers, or actually several million customers have used our product since we're founded. We have 1,000 partners around the world, and we're generally regarded, there's two things that sort of set SOS apart from other online backup companies. The first is that we aim to be the technology and product leader in the space, and we've done a pretty good job of doing that, I think. We've won a lot of awards over the years, including, for example, we've been PC Magazine Editor's Choice for online backup for 5 years running. So generally we focus on product excellence and really pushing the envelope when it comes to building out online backup technology, and we've helped shape the industry, frankly. The second thing that sets us apart is we're a platform play. We're a channel partner focused company. So more than 80% of our revenue comes from the channel, comes from our partners. And that gives us a very different focus in life to Mozy and Carbonite, who are very much just about pushing their own brands. What we specialize in doing is getting you into the online backup market so you can sell online backup to your customers under your brand. And so we're a platform as a service play that allows you to get into the online backup market very quickly. In terms of where we focus on our product offerings, this slide sort of positions us against some of the other well-known companies in the space. We're very SMB focused. When I say SMB, I'm talking about like 2 to 50 employees. And also consumer. I mean, we actually have a lot of consumers using the technology through our partners. We have a lot of partners who focus on selling to consumers. So if you're selling to either of those markets, then we're a pretty good fit. When it comes to enterprise, we do have some enterprise solutions, but we're not an enterprise backup product. We don't set out to be the backup solution for General Motors. It's not to say that the product couldn't. It's just that as a company, we're not set up to do that. What we're really set up to do is support resellers who sell to small businesses and to home users. So this slide really, I think, encapsulates what it is that we do. We take all of our product and technology as represented on the left here, and we then run it through the filter of your business. That's not just about branding. It's also about product positioning and bundling and pricing and marketing, figuring out how to drop online backup into your existing products and services that you're selling, with the end goal being, of course, to help you drive additional revenue for your business. At the end of the day, this is a business discussion. Online backup is a wonderful type of product. It's very sticky. It can give you an additional revenue stream. That revenue stream is highly profitable and it's recurring. It's very easy for you to grow and very easy for you to add to your existing business. So it's quite an attractive revenue stream. On the screen here, we've got a few examples of the type of branding work that we do. Pretty much anything you see in SOS land can be rebranded for yourself. So that is anything from websites to the applications themselves to marketing materials, even to webinars like this one we're having today. SOS can host a webinar like this in your name for your customers. And we'll see more examples of the rebranding later on in the presentation. Turning to look at the competitive landscape for backup technologies, what's out there? And I'm sure if you're already selling to customers, you'll have come across this. Actually, that's another good question for me to ask the audience. If you could type in your primary customer base, is it home users, small businesses, or enterprise? That would be very useful as well. In the consumer space, we really don't have much of a backup standard embedded, so it's very early days in terms of online backup penetration into the consumer space. It's the fastest growing of these three sectors at the moment, and it's a very profitable market segment. And I think it's because traditionally there really just has not been a backup standard for consumers. Where they have been backing up, which was infrequently, they were typically using a homegrown solution, maybe an external hard disk drive that they've bought at Best Buy, perhaps a flash memory key that they're copying data to. It's not automatic, it's certainly not secure, and it's very rarely off-site. So in general, if they are backing up, which is infrequently, it's usually pretty low-grade backup. Small business is a different story, and just going by that straw poll here, we've got a pretty even mix of people selling to small business, enterprise, and home users. So we've got pretty even distribution by the look of things. In terms of the small business landscape, tape is still the 400-pound gorilla. Tape's still got an 80% market share of all backup technology out there. It's a dying technology. Tape sales have been shrinking dramatically. We'll see some of the data on that in a couple of slides' time. But nevertheless, it is the most common backup solution in place. So when you're selling to small businesses and you're selling online backup to them, typically you're not actually competing against another online backup company. Typically you're competing against what's already in place. So it's usually a technology replacement sale, and you're competing against tape, which is a pretty easy competition because tape's got a lot of problems. It's very expensive to install and very expensive to run. And online backup's got a lot of technology advantages and cost advantages, which we're going to see on the next slide. And then lastly, in the enterprise. Enterprise is a hard one for online backup right now for a couple of reasons. Firstly, enterprises generally have already got backup solutions in place. There are no large enterprises in America that don't already have some sort of DR plan. Second thing is they've already invested heavily in that type of technology. The third thing is that there's still suspicion of the public cloud coming from the enterprise. So we've seen data that says that online backup's got less than a 2% penetration into corporate America. And even if you take that with a grain of salt, it is very, very low penetration to date. So the hottest markets for online backup so far is very much consumer and small business, but the enterprise market is going to open up, and so that's a very large area of future growth of the industry. So I commented on the decrease in tape sales. the Santa Clara Group's got a study out that says that tape sales have shrunk from $2.5 billion to $1.5 billion in just the last few years. If that trend continues, we're going to see tape be a legacy technology. Certainly the amount of new tape deployments going out into the market is shrinking rapidly. So where's that spend going? Well, the number of CIOs and CTOs that are planning on moving their backup load to the cloud, in part or full, at 71%, which is exciting because, and now again, this is over a 3 to 5 year time period, so this is forward-looking. But we are seeing both a shrinkage in tape backup sales, and we're seeing massive growth in online backup adoption by small business and small enterprises, and starting to gain traction in the large enterprise. And so why is that? Well, two reasons. One is economics, and the other is technology. We'll look at each. Just briefly on the cost piece, online backup is just cheaper for the end user, so and startlingly cheaper. So this case study comes from a partner of ours who brought a customer across from tape to online backup. All told, their cost for using the tape backup solution was $6,146. Whereas the same amount of data being backed up with online backup, specifically SOS, was $1,000, so a sixth of the cost. Over a 5-year period, it was $5,000 in online backup cost, $9,000 for the hardware solution. Now, a really interesting point about this is also then what that did to the margin for the reseller. Margins on hardware have generally been shrinking for resellers, now down into the low single digits. So in this particular case, the margin for the reseller on the tape gear was just a few percentage points, and it netted out to a little bit under $500 one time. Whereas on online backup, the reseller made $500 a year for 5 years. So everybody made out better. The customer is happy because his cost was a sixth of his traditional cost or his original cost. The reseller was happy because he's made 5 times as much revenue. And overall, everyone's happy because it's a far better backup. So let's talk about that. Some of the problems with tape backup, I'm sure everybody on the line is familiar with some of the challenges, but really, no matter how you analyze tape and disk-based backup, and when I say hardware backup or centrally architected backup, I really include disk because most of the problems that are associated with tape are they apply to disk-based backup as well. From a so let's going down the list. From a deployment standpoint, hardware backups are very expensive to deploy. It's time intensive and it's very expensive capital equipment, so it's costly in terms of both money and time. Whereas with online backup, deployment is very simple. You just push out a network agent across your network using whatever your deployment technology is, Active Directory group policy, for example, and you can deploy it to 100 machines in under an hour and have them all be backing up immediately. From a coverage standpoint, hardware-based backup has always really suffered. When I say coverage, I'm talking about how many devices are we actually protecting. So traditionally, hardware-based backup never covered laptops. Laptops are moving in and out of the network and are very hard to back up. Rarely were branch offices or people working at home covered by the backup solution that was in place. Generally, whenever data is distributed, it's not being backed up. So if data was sitting on an iPhone or a BlackBerry, forget about backing that up. Home offices, laptops, roving workforces. None of these problems apply with online backup because so long as the device has got an Ethernet connection, it's going to be protected. So for small business environments where you often have fragmented IT solutions with heterogeneous